Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. I am Starco Gaming and we are back for another Dragon Champion video, guys. Today we're going to talk about the only pirate characters we haven't reviewed yet up to this date. We talk about Yogi, how to build him, how to play him, and is he actually useful for the Pride team to face the legendary event of buff. Well, we're gonna talk about it in this video, but before we get into that, guys, if you are level 15 or below, make sure to use the promo code STARCO to get $10 worth of freebies. To do so, it's very simple. You go in settings, use promo code, and you enter the word STARCO, STARKO. You press OK, and you will get $10 worth of freebies, including among other things 500 dragons and 250,000 gold, which will be very useful early on in the game. So let's jump into the roster, guys. Let's jump into Yogi and let's take a look at this character. This character, well, are you going to need to use these characters in your Pride team? That's a big question. You don't need to use him. You know, he's not mandatory. But if you have the option between using him or Vorian, you're gonna use him over Vorian. Now, if you have five other Pride characters that are not, you know, excluding Vorian and Yogi, well, you will not use this character. Not that he's not a good character, it's just that he's lacking the synergy in a Pride team. He has a synergy with Vorian, but putting both in your team will kind of screw you up. So they don't have the damage together to actually make a difference. So it's either you're gonna be using 4 other Pride characters and Yogi, or you will not be using Yogi pretty much. That's pretty much how it's gonna work, but we're still gonna take a look at him because a lot of people will be running with Yogi because they don't have, you know, all the Pride characters build up, and Yogi is part of that. So we're gonna talk about what skill to actually level up to level 6 and how to play him a little bit. Then we're gonna check out the runes, important stats as primary, secondary, and then we're gonna take a look at what artifact we are actually putting on this guy for internal testing. So let's get started with the skills here. First, we have Cold Blood. Increase potency by 30%, which is the part that's going to be important here because we are not going to pair him with Vorian the Trickster. To make Vorian the Trickster really good with that synergy, you need to have a Poison team with that. So like a, for example, Slinger Lead with Venomate, with Yogi and Vorian could actually be something that could actually be decent, or just Hira Salvador with Venomate, Vorian and Yogi can actually be a good team too, but that's not a team you can actually use on the buff event, sadly, because a full Pride team, there's not a world where you can put both Vorian and Yogi together and hope to actually beat the buff event, at least with the degree of difficulty that the buff event is as right now on the test server. So that kind of ruined the purpose of that passive ability. But like I said, if you build a background team, you can actually make some that synergy between Vorian and Yogi actually work out pretty damn good. So now if you have that synergy, you can actually get a 60% increased potency on Yogi, which will be pretty huge. Now do you actually need, for the Pride setup, do you actually need to get this ability to level 6? Not really. I think 25 difference between 25 and 60 and 30% potency is not that big. Now if you're actually going to be building this guy to eventually playing with Vorian, yes, you will need to get that passive ability to level 6. But in the situation that we are talking about, the buff event here, this ability at level 5 is totally fine. Next, we have Sense of Time. Decrease the cooldown of random abilities of the target alive by 2 turns and restore 50% of their turn meter. So this is definitely a very strong support ability. Like, you can use that, for example, to keep your taunt up, as example on Salvador. So you can actually use that on Salvador, so you can use his taunt almost every every few turns, so it's actually can be very useful. Now, does it deserve to be leveled up to level 6? Totally. This is literally one of the best ability to get to level 6 for Yogi. We're still gonna check out the other 2 abilities too before we actually give an order to which ability to get to level 6, but even to level 5 it could actually do some job. But I think 1 turn it's not enough. I think 2 turns is really mandatory for this ability. Now look at the other ability, Sandstorm. Deal 220% of magic damage to the target, 110% of magic damage to all their enemies. Blind the main target for 2 turns, so you can blind the best damage dealer in the other team, which can be very useful. And if you get that to level 5, you can see you lose a lot of damage. You lose 30% damage on the main target, 15% damage on the other targets, and blind will only last 1 turn. So definitely this is an ability that needs to be put to level 6. Level 5 is just not good enough. Level 6 is needed. And if we go with the first skill deal 240% of magic damage to an enemy, a 50% chance to inflict slow for 2 turns, and if the enemy is poisoned, there's a 30% chance to stun for 1 turn. Again, you can see that synergy with Vorian, because Vorian will do a lot of poison. So putting this guy with Vorian and Venomate, that's an infernal trio. Since we cannot have Venomate in this team, that part is actually not that impressive, but that slow part is very important. And you can see if we get that level, that skill to level 5 instead of 6, we lose 30% magic damage. The slow lasts only 1 turn, and 15% less chance to actually get the stuns, which we don't care. But the slow lasting one more turn on level 6 is so important that you have to have this ability to level 6 in my opinion. So which are the abilities in which order we should get to level 6? I do believe because of the slow, this shall be the number 1 ability to get to level 6. Then number 2, the Sandstorm, and then number 3, Sands of Time. You can have Sands of Time at level 5, that can totally be fine. I think the other 2 ability are much more important. So ability 1, top priority, ability 2, second priority, and then if you have the scroll, the ability 3 is your next priority on the priority list. And the last one, only if you're gonna pair him with Vorian the Trickster, if you want to get that ability to level 6. Otherwise 4 or 5 is totally fine. Now how are you gonna be playing this guy? Is pretty simple. Blind the best damage dealer in your team with this skill. Apply your slow on as many targets as you can with this skill, and then use this skills when you know, you see one of your characters that could need an ability, a turn increase, like your healer needs to be able to heal or resurrect somebody. Since we're talking about Renara, you can drop the ability on Renara, or your tank needs to be able to use his shell or his taunt with Salvador, then you can use that on Salvador. This is the best use of this ability in my opinion. Don't really want to use that ability on a DPS. You really want to use that ability on your support characters, which is Renara and Salvador in the Pride team, obviously. So well, your role characters, I mean not support but role characters. So that's pretty much how you're going to be using this ability. Next, guys, we're going to talk about the runes. We went with 4 speed and 2 potency. Without runes, this guy has a terrible speed, guys. Very slow character, so speed is mandatory for this characters. But anyway, for the buff event, everybody needs as much speed as possible. Everybody needs 4 speed rune to be able to, except Salvador, to be able to perform. So we got 4 speed and 2 potency, because obviously we want to is blind and is slow to apply as often as possible. So we have 2 potency there. Now as primary, it's pretty simple. Primary 1, we want speed. because he needs the speed. Obviously, primary 2, armor, we can actually go with damage, but armor 2 give him more resistance. And primary 3, we want potency. Obviously, this is the best slot, the only slots you can actually have potency, so potency is the way to go there. Now, if we go with secondary stats, what stats are you looking for as your secondary stats? Is pretty simple. It's all about speed and potency. So like here you can see we have speed, potency, and some extra ability for some extra damage output there. Here you can see primary speed, secondary potency, speed, potency. You see the pattern here. This one is shit because we don't have either speed or potency, but we do have some critical chance, so it's not so bad. Here you can see potency, damage, crits. We have crits here only. That's just terrible, but you can see the pattern. As much potency and speed as possible to get this guy's stats as high as possible in those two matters. Now if we take a look at the stats we have, you can see only 176 speed here, and that include the 10% speed increase from the 4 sets and the 23 speed we got from that, and a little bit on secondary stats. So you can see his base speed is terrible. Vorian with a similar setup in runes actually had 222 speed, so that gives you the difference on how low his speed is on, you know, on his base kits. It's terrible. So if you don't get that speed up, he's gonna be useless in the team on the buff legendary event, because he's not gonna be able to attack often enough. Even 176, this is a very low for the buff event, but that's the best we could have done, we were able to do with this guy. And then if we look at the potency, we have 73.43% potency, but that a little bit comes from the artifact we're gonna check in a sec here. And you can see his HP is 21,602, so I did not feel like I really needed to give him extra HP, to be honest, because he already has some solid base kit. HP was already high enough in my opinion. If the base kit gives you over 20,000 HP as a DPS, I think that's a very good starter point, that you don't really need to get some extra HP in my opinion. So this is pretty much the setup we have on this guy. Now if we take a look at the artifact, we went with potency and armor. This is pretty much a amazing artifact for Trongar, by the way, guys. If you can't get that for Trongar, get it, because this is amazing. But in this situation, that was the best artifact in my personal opinion for my Yogi. You get 9% potency, which is awesome. A little bit of armor, which you can see increase the physical armor by 2.38%, increase magic armor by 3.4%, so it will take less damage, so that is pretty solid. And it's just the potency. 9% potency is so important. It is so important. It gets him from being around 64% of potency to 73% potency, so his blind and slow will apply a lot better. So that's pretty much the setup for my Yogi, guys. Obviously, when the event release, we're gonna be testing a few teams to actually show which team can actually be useful. We're gonna try to use all the characters we have here today. Well, this in the past 2 weeks that we reviewed, so all the pride characters we're gonna try to mix and match and actually see which team can actually beat the buff event. But obviously today is the last day that we're covering those characters, and then in the next video that we're gonna be releasing about the buff event is gonna be on Wednesday when the buff event released, to actually showcase how to actually beat him and which team can actually be successful in beating him. So again, guys, if you have any question, feedback, comment, there's a comment section down below. Make sure to use it. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video and to share it with your friends, so we can get the word out there on how to build and play this character properly. So guys, thank you for watching. Hopefully you have a good time in this video, and I will see you again, guys, in the next video. Thank you.